nuclear submarines going. And it's ironic that Trump was the victim of Russiagate, and here he is implementing the last stage of Russiagate, which is sending nuclear submarines, threatening nuclear war with Russia. That's the ultimate irony here, is that he was the victim of Russiagate. We could never have the Ukraine-Russia war without Russiagate. And now the conclusion of all this Russiagating is the President of the United States threatening nuclear war with Russia. That's the ultimate irony here. And that seems pretty stupid to do it over these tweets. And other people have said on Twitter, hey, why doesn't Trump just ignore Medvedev like everybody else does? Why are you giving this guy so much?
I'll bet because it's not about the tweets and there's something else going on, such as with the war, and this is just like a little outer whitehead of it, you know?
Trump needs a win. Trump needs to end the Ukraine war. Russia's not playing along right now, because Russia, when they did play along and they signed peace agreements called Minsk 1 and 2, we now find out that those were all a ruse, that NATO and the West and Europe never, ever planned on following those peace accords. As Angela Merkel, the former head of Germany, said, the reason why they had those peace accords with Russia wasn't to have peace, but so they could build up Ukraine's military to get ready for a big war. And so, and then they had a peace agreement. NATO came in and killed it a month after the war started. And so I'm pretty sure Putin's like, all right, well, guess what? You guys, you effed around and now you're going to find out. So, as we predicted when this war started with Ukraine, it's going to end however Russia wants it to end, and that's what's happening. And Trump is frustrated because he can't dictate to Putin to stop this war, no matter what he does, because they've screwed over Putin so many times already with their lies and starting this war. They provoked this war. And the lies of them overthrowing the Ukraine government, them meaning the CIA, and NATO overthrowing the elected president of Ukraine in 2014, doing a coup and installing someone who was hostile to Russia instead of a guy who was friendly to Russia. So Russia's been taking a lot of beatings from the presidents of the United States and NATO and Europe. And he's done. He's like, okay, well, I'm no more nice guy. And so now I'm just going to keep this war going until I get every single thing I want. They already had a peace agreement. I think it was in March of whenever this war started. Was it 2022? They already had a peace agreement. And that's when they sent Boris Johnson. NATO sent Boris Johnson to tell Zelensky, stop the peace agreement that they had completely worked out. Completely. So 500,000 Ukrainians didn't have to die. We didn't have to spend $300 billion fighting this war. It could have all been over because Zelensky, the Ukrainians, and Russia and Putin had agreed to a peace agreement. And who killed that peace agreement? Joe Biden, Boris Johnson, and NATO. That's who did it. So, again, this is all on us. And now Donald Trump is ramping up saber rattling. Nuclear saber rattling with another nuclear power. This is the end result of Russiagate. I hope you're happy, all the people who fell for Russiagate and didn't listen to me and called me a Putin puppet or a Trumper when I told them the truth about Russiagate. So there it is. Here's what. So Trump is planning on. So this is a new segment.
Okay.
So Trump is planning on imposing sanctions on Russia because Russia won't end the Ukraine war for a lot of good reasons. But let's listen to what Trump said.
Yeah, we have about 8 guys. Yeah, we're going to put sanctions. I don't know that sanctions bother him. You know, they know about sanctions. I know better than anybody about sanctions and tariffs and everything else. I don't know if that has any effect, but we're going to do it. Europe is extremely upset. But this is a war that should have never happened.
So remember when he said that they're going to rapidly achieving peace with the Ukraine? Remember that? That means ceasefire for a couple hours, take a dump, and then get something to drink. That's what that means. So Trump is now talking about so now we already showed you where he sent nuclear submarines towards Russia. This was after he had announced This was before he announced the nuclear submarines. This is what he was saying. We're going to sanction Russia because Russia isn't stopping their war with Ukraine until they get everything they want, which was very predictable, which is what everybody said. We said it immediately when the war started. And by the way, this war was provoked and started and planned for by the United States and NATO. And so here's what Jeffrey Sachs says, that Trump's sanctions ultimatum will blow up in America's faces. Will it? Yep. Economist and longtime advisor to the UN, Jeffrey Sachs, has issued a scathing critique of President Trump's decision to unleash yet more anti-Russian sanctions, giving Moscow just 10 days to negotiate for peace with Ukraine, or else the new punitive measures will go into effect. Sachs called the new policy dangerous and a sign that Trump's administration is plagued by contradictions and a lack of coherent strategy for ending the war, despite constant early boasting that Trump would rapidly achieve peace. Rapidly achieve peace. Call a ceasefire, take a dump, get a drink, start the war again. The secondary sanctions aimed primarily at those nations still trading with Russia are doomed to be ineffective anyway, the Columbia University professor pointed out. If the sanctions are actually applied, they are an escalation of the conflict and therefore very dangerous. I do not believe that they will be effective. For example, I do not believe they will stop Russia from selling oil, gas, and other commodities to the Asian markets. Yet provocations and escalations often have unpredictable negative effects, and that could be true here as well. The new restrictions are likely to backfire regardless, as they could expose the incompetence or even accelerate the breakup of U.S.-led geopolitical and economic blocs. So that is what's going to happen. This is, in short, the wrong approach. We need diplomacy and negotiation to get to the root causes of the conflict and solve them, not unworkable ultimatums based on the idea of an unconditional ceasefire. He further highlighted the West's inability to acknowledge and come to terms with the real underlying cause of the Ukraine war, such as historic NATO expansion, the sham Minsk Accords, or the coup events of 2014. So all those things are, so this war is happening because of what NATO, Joe Biden, the United States did, and Barack Obama. That's why, and Trump, and that's why this war is happening. So when he says the reason, NATO expansion, so NATO promised Russia after the Berlin Wall fell that we wouldn't expand. We've not only expanded, we've expanded with like 12 or 13 more countries joining NATO, and they threatened to put Ukraine in NATO, which is right on the border of Russia, and Russia wasn't going to put up with that. The second thing is the sham Minsk Accord. So they already had peace agreements between Ukraine and Russia, and we found out those were shams. Those were just to get Russia to stop attacking Ukraine, so Ukraine had time to build up their military. And how do we know this? Angela Merkel said this. The Minsk Accords were never meant to be abided by. They were just there to pause so we could build up Ukraine's military for the war we were going to provoke, which they did. And the third thing is the coup events of 2014. So the CIA and NATO overthrew a friendly government to Russia in Ukraine. We overthrew the president of Ukraine, called the Maidan coup, in 2014 because the president at that time, who was democratically elected in Ukraine, was friendly to Russia. We got rid of him, installed a puppet who was more friendly to the United States. So again, this is all the United States doing, this war in Ukraine. Instead, the Western powers now demand an unconditional ceasefire. Russia will not agree to this, nor will a new round of U.S. sanctions compel Russia to agree with this. All the sanctions and all the stuff, we blow up their pipeline, we put sanctions on them, we try to isolate them, we get them out of the banking system that the whole world runs on, and we thought that would hurt Russia and their economy would tank, and then we thought that we could break up Russia and take it over. That was the plan. Russia's bigger and stronger now than they ever were. They got pushed closer with China and Asia, and so now they're just making up all that trade. Their dollar's stronger than their currency is stronger now than it was before the war. Top Trump administration officials are defending the freshly issued ultimatum given to the Kremlin. For example, White House Special Envoy to Russia and Ukraine, Keith Kellogg, has claimed the relative ineffectiveness of current sanctions thus far has largely been due to weak enforcement from the West. So that's, sanctions work. We just got to do. So everything we do to hurt Russia just ends up boosting their economy. It's like kicking a lawyer's ass in front of a police station. However, Kellogg has asserted that Putin will start feeling the pressure, not just from within his military, but also from the oligarchs and internally, and that the sanctions will start to bite. So they keep saying this.
Oh no, the oligarchs will be forced to invest in their own country and not participate in the global market.
Yeah.
How will they ever get by?
How will they ever get by? Currently, so what he's admitting there is currently the current sanctions we have on them aren't biting.
Did we lift sanctions? I don't even remember that happening.
They don't bite. They just suck. So Lord Bebo says BRICS de-dollarizes because Biden used the dollar as a weapon against Russia. So BRICS is Brazil, Russia, India, what is the C? China, and South Africa. But there's a lot more countries joining BRICS. So that's an economic alliance against the United States. And they're going to de-dollarize, so they're not going to use the dollar, which hurts our economy, because Biden used the dollar as a weapon against Russia. Trump, instead of fixing this and showing all other countries that the dollar is a safe currency, doubles down and threatens to sanction everyone. So if the rest of the world stops using the United States dollar as their reserve currency, our economy's done. And our strength in the world is over.
You know, it's based on nothing. It's based on nothing. No, it's based on everybody has to use it for some reason. And I bet they're also going, why do we have to take this? Because it kind of coincides with cancel culture ending, sanction culture, which is geopolitical cancel culture. It's all going downhill at the same time. Probably October 7th killed that too.
I'm lucky Trump doesn't sanction me for doing this story. I promise you I won't change it. If you want to see more of this, you can come see me Sunday in Oxnard, California, doing comedy, or in Rutherford, New Jersey, or at the Village Underground in Manhattan, or in Calgary, Edmonton, or Vancouver. Go to jimmydore.com for a link for tickets. But there's more to this. Richard says Trump is fully aware he holds no real leverage over Russia, unlike the sway he has over the European Union. Sanctions are a broken record at this point, ineffective and ignored. Russia couldn't care less. The real power lies on the battlefield, and every day Russia keeps advancing. This war won't end through diplomacy or empty threats. It'll end when Putin decides it does, which is exactly what we said when the war started in February of 2022. That this war is going to end exactly how Putin wants it to end, and there you go.
I get a feeling that the Russians that live there are like, yeah, keep it going, fuck America. If I were Russian, I probably would say things like that.
You know, these sanctions are like newlywed fake handcuffs. They only work if everybody plays along. So again, Trump, this more sanctions only makes more countries want to join BRICS and de-dollarize, meaning not use the dollar for trade anymore, which would be the end of our economy. It'd be the end of our economic power. It'd be the end of everything.
Well, that's why we had to kill Gaddafi with an old-fashioned
That's why they had to kill Gaddafi, because Gaddafi wanted to de-dollarize all of Africa, and then we wouldn't have any control over Africa. If they don't use U.S. dollars, we can't control them. And that's why they had to kill Gaddafi, because he was going to unite Africa under its own currency. All of Africa, all the countries.
And they acted like that was a real stupid, crazy person idea from Gaddafi. I remember that well. They made specific. This idiot thought he was going to make a currency for Africa, among his other terrible crimes in the cable smear doc about him. And, if it was that crazy, why'd you have to have him killed that way?
Yeah.
They just liked him like not that long before, and all of a sudden he's got to die right now.
Right now. So, that's it. Trump's doubling down. It's going to blow up in his face. It's going to blow up in our face. Trump's going to be fine. He's a billionaire. But it's going to blow up in every way. I mean, I'm telling you, when the world decides to de-dollarize, the BRICS is the start of it. And now you got the petrodollar's gone. You got Saudi Arabia selling oil in other denominations. That also undermines the dollar. It's not good. And Trump is doubling down on stupid Joe Biden policy. That's what he's doing.
Because you know why? The scam has been the scam for a while. And like the Madoff scam, Bernie Madoff could never stop doing it. He could only keep it going until it all fell apart. And that's what America is at this point. So every president that comes in that wants to make it, we have no choice but to ride the scam until it blows up. Build your bunkers, everybody.
Yeah. Okay, over to Steph.
All right, the real D. Schneid, still waiting for the Metzger Gomez pay-per-view. My money on Kerp. Longer
I never
reach.
advertised that. I never consented to advertise something like that.
I know. I don't know why they're saying that. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry about that. Hey, you guys all right? Rick, we're all right. Our team is all right. Most of us work remote, and a family emergency happened at one of our remote places. Here we go. Next one. Any word on when the new special drops? If so, where will we find it? Looking forward to it. Dallas sucks 23. Dallas to be announced. We're so close. We're just waiting on just one more person to respond. So I know. Back to Jimmy.